Welcome back. We're talking to people who've set out on a journey close to their heart and have gone the distance to be able to say mission possible. And that's the theme of this show, this hour. I want you to be inspired by the guests you hear today to find your own mission, whatever it is, and know that it's possible to complete it. We've been talking with Mark McDonald, who shared the struggles he and his wife, Tina, faced trying to start a family. Having been adopted himself, Mark was unsure if adoption was a path to parenthood he was comfortable with. It prompted him to set out on a mission. He says to track down his birth mother. And in the process, he discovered three siblings, all from his same two birth parents. One of those siblings is here with us now, Mark's sister, Rachel Elliot. Rachel, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Of course, you and Mark together have written this book, Love and Genetics, which shares your family's journey in finding each other. Let me ask you, Rachel, growing up, were you aware that there was a possibility that you had a sibling?
No, I was the oldest of three kids. I had two little brothers, and there was never a whisper of a secret brother or another sibling.
And you were in your 20s, I believe, when you learned about him. You wrote in the book, immediately consumed and wanted to know every scrap of information. I think that's what you said about him. I mean, that's whirlwind to go from not knowing someone exists to suddenly, I want to know every single thing about you.
It was the same feeling I had when I had children. My heart just went, oh my God, I love him. He exists and I love him and I want to know everything about him.
When you found out about the struggle to conceive that Mark and Tina were facing, how did how did that impact you in your desire to know him and even have a bond with him?
As soon as I found out, I immediately thought I should be their surrogate. It made it made sense to me. I was the right age. I had already had children. I was healthy. I thought, how hard can it be? I could do that.
So, Mark, you went from searching for your family, finding them, to meeting your sister, who now says, I got an idea. I can be your surrogate.
Yep. It's incredible.
I mean, when you went out and set out to find your family, that's one thing. You had not wrote on the list, I want my sibling to then be my surrogate. That was not on the list of the mission, but it became a part of it.
It did. Really, the events you're describing were 4 months from receiving a phone call and finding out I had siblings till when Rachel made the offer to be our surrogate.
And Rachel, I think the audience will be surprised to know that you actually have said you, quote, hate being pregnant and was not a big fan of babies.
Both of those things are true. They're not very welcome in some circles, but I was an unhappy pregnant woman with my own pregnancies. But there was something about the surrogacy and knowing how much it meant to Mark, and really it gave us an opportunity to get to know each other in a way that would
Yeah.
not have been possible
Right.
otherwise. And it was a totally different experience to be pregnant for someone else, because I was doing this great, huge, impossible thing, and I got a brother. And he got babies, but I got a brother. That was
Oh,
amazing.
well, I listen, I know Mark's twins, Allie and Zoe, have slipped into the picture. I think you're with your dad. Hi, ladies.
Hi.
And so I know that Mark, you wrote this book because it was important for you to know your family story. Allie, I understand you've not only read the book, but also you suggested some edits to your dad's story.
Yeah,
What did you suggest you change?
really not much. I was mostly focusing on reading the book. Like, I was looking at the story and I wasn't caring. I mean, some of the words and sentences,
He said some of
but
the words and sentences, Dad. Zoe, I know you are waiting until you're a little older to read the book. Um, I don't know how you could resist. I'm sure there are many copies around the house. Why do you want to wait to read more about the relationship with your Aunt Rachel?
Well, it's a very personal story from my dad and his sister, and that's just a lot.
No, it is a lot. Absolutely. Well, listen, I think it's an incredible story with a journey detailed to Allie's point and Zoe. It's a deeply personal one. Mark, when you shared this ultimately and people started to read this book, did it feel like it was healing? Did it feel like some of the things that you were able to share would help other people?
That was certainly one of my hopes, but two wonderful healing aspects. One was for my biological mother, Marilyn, and knowing that her other child, Rachel, helped fulfill our family dreams was very healing for her. And I guess I'm naively hopeful. We talked about the challenges of adoption reunion, of finding who your relatives or step relatives are. And I guess I wished that our story, which had such a wonderful outcome, could give hope for people to be brave enough to do those searches and to try to make those reconnections.
Well, Mark and Rachel, thank you so much for joining us. Allie, Zoe, thank you. The book Love and Genetics is out now.